And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at the Scythe modular board, which kind of comes in a packaging that you can unwrap and then just basically stick them in your set. And this rulebook looks really thick, but it's literally 2 pages. It's just multiple languages. Mine, I have the big box of Scythe, and it fits in mine, but I know it would also fit in normal Scythe box. This expansion is exactly what it sounds like. It's a modular board for Scythe. It also comes with some extra bonus tiles that you can use, but it's a modular board for Scythe. So this isn't going to be a very long review, but let me show you how it works. So this board is double-sided. This is one side, and here is the other side. And so you can see, I'm going to show you real quickly the size of this board. This is going to be compared to the original board. So you can see the original board is here. All right, so you can see they look kind of similar, but there's going to be some major differences. You say, well, obviously there's no hexes here. Well, that's because you have these 4 double-sided hexes, and you just mix them up and you place them. Now you have to place them face up, so I can't do this. They have to be oriented the right way, but they can be on either side. And when you do this, now you have a complete board. And what you're going to do is you're going to take all these round tokens that come with the game, and these are just going to be randomly placed in these different areas. This one in particular, basically nothing goes in that one, but you're going to place them around there. And if for some reason you are using expansion tiles, you would just put one of those here. You would already get these in the expansion. So this is what the board looks like when you're finished. Now there's a couple things here to note about this board. First of all, it's going to change the game considerably depending on where players start and what they're going to be able to do. You can see, for example, this faction here especially has a lake directly next to it. Now rivers here are parts of lakes. You can also see, for example, these 2 factions are next to each other, and this faction is going to be a little bit more apart, so maybe no one will pick that. Once you set the map up, people will pick their factions and where they want to go. I mean, that's the official rules. For me, I will set the map up and then let people pick their spot with the faction that they want. And there is obviously going to be some things set into play here that, hey, you need to know this game to be able to play on this board, because you're going to need to know your special abilities and the river walk abilities of your mechs. You may not even care about river walk. Like, look at this faction here. They don't need river walk. Well, I guess they do. They need river walk right here. But it is possible to have a faction who will be able to walk around. Now, let's talk about a slightly negative thing, and it just happened to me. Here's what's going to happen. These boards can shift some, and you may not notice that there's a river there. You say, well, you shouldn't allow that to happen. I'm telling you, it happens, and it can be easy to forget where the rivers are. Now, when the river is next to a lake, like I said, it becomes part of that lake. Elsewhere, there's rivers all over the place. So you have to keep those in mind, where rivers are and where players can walk to and go to based on how this is set up. This is what is included in its expansion. Also, a bunch of new tiles of various things that are going to give you points. Here, you get points for buildings that are not next to each other, touching nothing else. Here, you get points for the number of them touching the same encounter area. I'm sorry, that's this one here. These are next to encounters. If you have them on the mountains or forests, if you have all of them in a diamond shape on the board, you're going to get 9 points. And so these can be used with or without the expansion map. You just throw them in. Look, I like Scythe a lot. It is one of my favorite games. So playing on this modular board was fun. I'm always going to have fun playing Scythe. I think it's a fantastic game. And every time I get out and play it, I'm like, man, this game is just amazing. From the base game to each of the expansions. But this is the first expansion that I personally would pass on. Let me be really clear here. I'm not saying this is a bad expansion by any means. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this expansion. It's just that I don't know. I guess you have to play Scythe a lot to say, oh, these boards, where it's getting boring seeing the same board over and over. To me, the mixing of the factions and the different ways of play styles and the different boards and the different event cards and using, if the Rise of Fenris expansion, if you thought your life was getting boring, there's so much to see inside that a modular board doesn't really do it for me. Not to mention that those tiles slide around a little bit. So that's kind of annoying. And it really is a struggle for some people when it's time to play the game, because you're like, well, you need to know what you're doing. The setup, I'm like, okay, I'm this faction and I'm by this stuff and I have Riverwalk to these things and I need to get steel and oil. I don't want to go to all that trouble before the game. I just want to get my setup and go. But you could really have a somewhat unbalanced setup here. It's one side can get maybe a slight edge, or just easier to run across the board and get things. So, yeah, if you want a board and you want different boards all the time, you're going to like this. For me, I wouldn't purchase it for myself because I'm really happy with the base board as it is. But if you play Scythe a lot, and don't get me wrong, I know people in my game group who play it every week, then this is definitely something you're going to want to check out. I will say I like those new tiles a ton. I like the fact that there's going to be different bonus tiles in every single game now. I mean, what's there, 8 new ones? And that's 8 games worth right there because you use only 1 per game. So that's cool. The rest of it, I mean, again, not bad. It's just not something I was looking for. But for those of you who want variety, you got it now. In spades! Dice Tower Judgment, it's really for expert people who play Scythe all the time.